I know. The little super.
we all stand up when we do the opening, right?
People. Oh my gosh. How wonderful. How wonderful. Welcome back. Welcome back to church, to a new year, to seeing each other and being together again, to some of the same darn challenges we are still managing and overcoming. And new challenges, new opportunities, new life, so much that we anticipate and so much we will discover together. The whole of my ministry, I have said it and said it and said it, and I have always meant it and preached on it and returned to it, and still I mean it this morning like I never have before. It is good to be together.
Amen.
So good. So good to be together here with all of you in this space that missed you all so much last year. Even distanced as we must be now for everybody's safety, we are here. And we are holding this space for all of you who are still home, who want to be here, who will come back and join us when you can, and many of you have spoken to me, so I know you're there. And some of you who are going to come join us outdoors this afternoon at our gathering in Colt State Park in Bristol, when even more of us will be together. Fittingly, for our first in-person service during the regular church year in a year and a half, we have a lot that we are holding today. In addition to the energy and poignancy of just being together, we are welcoming our new interim music director, Jeff Allard, who just gave us such beautiful music on our wonderful organ. Jeff, thank you.
We are, of course, observing our water communion tradition, sharing water from our various summer pursuits, blending it, adding it to the water we've kept from the past years, and using it for blessing of our loved ones during the church year. We are honoring the 20th anniversary of September 11th, 2001. It was a day which continues to be felt by each of us, by our nation, by all nations, in so much that has unfolded, so much we have learned, and so much we have yet to learn. As we struggle with its weight, even in the ongoing evacuation from Afghanistan, and the Afghan people who will be coming to take residence and sanctuary here in Rhode Island very soon. We are also remembering the Jewish high holidays. We are in the very midst of them right now, with Rosh Hashanah, the New Year, having come a few days ago, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, coming up.
The High Holy Days teach us about healing, about the blessings of taking responsibility for wrongdoing, and the forgiveness that can come in its wake. They are almost tidal. In comes acknowledgement, atonement, out flows mercy, reconciliation. So much really of what we honor and observe today moves in waves and tides. Not only water, but relationships, history. So much we know, so much we experience. Life itself. Thousands of years ago, Heraclitus of Ephesus summed it up saying, everything flows. The tide ebbs, it returns. We go, we return. Everything changes, even as some things endure. Amidst all the tumult of this year, This church endures, we endure. The tide goes out, the tide comes in. We are together, and we are here for each other always. This is the day we have been given. Let us be glad and be together in it.
Good morning. I'm Kim Noble and today's worship associate. Please join me in reading the Chalice Lighting words. This light burns also in our hearts, and it lights our path towards harmony, justice, and hope for all.
Please be seated. This is our time to greet each other. We haven't done this for so long. It had become one of my favorite parts of our Sunday morning experience when we ran around and said hi to new people and to dear friends and to everyone in between. We cannot do that quite yet, but we are not going to let this moment pass either. So right now, while we are still being careful, we will wave to each other or blow kisses without really blowing. So I want to invite you now to turn around and wave to those sitting in front of you, those sitting behind you, those sitting to either side of you. Look at each other. And let's do this together. My goodness. It is so, so good. Even this. And now I want to invite us all to turn around together in our pews, because there are 3 cameras that we're using today to broadcast this service to everybody at home. Now, there's Michael, who's helping us keep it together. Everybody see that pillar in the far corner of the church on the right? Right next to it. See the camera Michael's pointing to? Those are all our friends and neighbors and visitors at home, and we need to greet them. So on the count of 3, I would like to ask us all to say hello together to that camera on the balcony, to all of those who are with us in spirit. It should not be loud. It just needs to come from the heart, right? People at home, we miss you, and we love you. And let's everybody feel free to say hi back to us from your homes right now. Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Hello. Thank you. We have a reading now. This is from Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay on friendship, and the whole staff team, we were talking about this when we were planning this service a few weeks ago, because we can't see the whole of each other's faces, and we can't see each other's smiles or grimaces or grins, but we can see each other's eyes.
From Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay, Friendship. We have a great deal more kindness than is ever spoken. In spite of all the selfishness that chills like east winds the world, the whole human family is bathed with an element of love like a fine ether. How many persons we meet in houses whom we scarcely speak to, whom we yet honor, and who honor us. How many we see in the street or sit with in church, whom, though silently, we warmly rejoice to be with. Read the language of these wandering eye-beams. The heart knoweth.
While we're speaking of tides, we, and a lot of our country, has been hit hard by storms lately. By Henri and Ida, experiences that take some of us right back to Sandy, that take us all back to Katrina 16 years ago. Our hearts have been again with Louisiana, with all those who have been struggling with the new ways that water is defining our summers and our lives, even our geography in recent years. We have been hit hard too, and again, the response is always about coming together, about the power and imperative to help each other, our real ability to lift each other, the strength that comes with coming together, the beauty and energy that we create together. We wanted a way to lift all that up with you this morning, and we think we found our way. The song we are about to hear, not just hear, but help create together. It's a song about Louisiana, a song about coming home, a song about finding each other. It's a song about the power of people together, about music and spirit and renewal. We cannot sing together yet, but do you know what we can do? We can stomp. Yeah, I don't know if this church has ever stomped together. Look at the ways that hardship pushes us into new creativity. We can stomp and we can clap, and together we are going to kick off this song and keep it going the whole time. This morning, you are the percussion. You are the timpani. We are the song, the rhythm, the tidal beat of life. So I'm going to teach you a stomp, and that's how the song starts, with this stomp. And then Jeff's coming in, and then we have our beloved youth music director, Christy, up in the balcony, who's going to sing. Are you ready? Okay, you don't have to stomp. Nobody has to do anything that they don't want to. And it's fine to do what you want, but it's not that hard to do. It's a little harder for me to do standing, but here we go. So, everybody know which foot is your right foot? It's a multi-gen. I get confused. Okay, stomp your right foot. Okay. Just for kicks, stomp the left foot. Okay, it's a big sound. We're gonna stomp the right foot once, and then we're gonna stomp the right again and the left. So it's gonna go. Got it? Let's try that. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was so much closer together than I thought it was gonna be. All right, we'll do it again. One more. Okay, now we're gonna add in a clap. Okay? I know, now you're like, oh, forget it, we can't do the clap. I see you shaking your heads. It totally can be done. It's literally part of the way the song is always performed. So, it goes. Come in whenever you're ready. Okay, how's that feeling? You kind of got it? If it feels like it's too complicated, just stop or just clap. This is not meant to make anybody uncomfortable. We are the song, and this is worship. It's never perfect. It's just good. Okay? So we're going to start again. Come in as you're ready. And when Jeff thinks we've got it together, he's going to come in, and then Christy's joining us. You ready? Okay.
humming the funk. I got a Jones in my bones before they know we were singing this melody. Stop the car, pulled out the guitar, halfway to New Orleans, and take me home. Take me home. Could feel the sun about to rise when I realized we had nothing signal nobody could hear. Then the sun went up and it split the night, spinning over our Jubilee. 10,000 cars by the side of the road, moving far as the eye can see. He said, take me home. Yes, take me home. Said, take me home. Said, take me home. This greyhound is dead to mountain mama. Baby boy done finally found his way home. Said, take me home. Here we go. Hot damn if you could feel the groove, like I was swimming in a sea of soul. The sun was rising and the day was hot, and we was about to lose control. My daddy turned his face up towards the sky, and I knew that there was nothing to lose. I felt the crowd breathing as I closed my eyes, and we disappeared into the groove. Said, take me home. Yes, take me home. Take me home. Said, take me home. Yes, take me home. Yeah, take me home now. Yes, take me home.
A chance to catch our breaths now, yes? One of the ways First You transforms love into action is by the sharing of the joys and sorrows that connect us, that bring us together in beloved community. For those of you who are at home, you can participate in this ritual by sending an email anytime before noon on Saturday. And those who are present in the building have recorded their thoughts in this book, which is at the back of the sanctuary, where our partner church candle also resides. A candle of both joy and sorrow. Our beloved Director of Religious Education, Kathy Segal, has decided that this will be her last year and is going to retire at the end of this church year. Now, of course, we are joyful for her that she'll be taking time for her own next chapters, for her own self-care, for more time with friends and family, and especially grandchildren, for the beach, and for new ways for her to live out her life and values in the world. And also for ourselves, there's a certain amount of sorrow. Kathy has been with us for decades. She's helped us raise generations of children and youth. She knows our stories. She has been one of the chief weavers of our tapestry of faith. We have the next year, a full year, to make the most of our time with her and to prepare for our own next chapter in the raising of our young people and the nurture of our families and future. A candle of wellness for Alyssa Emerson, who is in rehab recovering from a knee injury or a knee problem of some sort. A candle of gratitude that on the night of September 11th, 20 years ago, my husband and I decided to get married. After trying to give blood on that day in Lower Manhattan and being told there were no survivors, we felt the urgency of committing to a lifetime together, and so we're married. A candle of both joy and concern. Joy for the beginning of my chaplaincy training with New York's Zen Center, and a candle of concern for the Bashir's family. Candle of sorrow for the loss of Gino C. to COVID just yesterday after a 5-week battle. A candle of gratitude for 21 adventurous years of marriage to my husband before it was even legal for us to be married. We were rebels and happy for being so. And many of you, in all different ways, sent candles of joy for our coming together in person on this day. Indeed, it is good to be together. My friends, let us rest in the gladness that we have each other and this beloved community to share our joys and our sorrows. Indeed, it makes all the difference. I'm going to offer some words adapted from Mary Oliver, followed by a time of silence. If you have lost someone this past year that you are remembering today, this morning, please stand if you're here in the building, and if you're watching from at home, you can stand or raise your hand as a way of participating in silent tribute to your loved and remembered. The silence will end with a gentle chime. To begin, I would like to invite you all to breathe. Feel your bodies where they are. Feel yourself relaxing into your seats. Soften your gaze if you wish. Please take a deep breath in with me. And out. And one more. It's more than water. It's more than the delicate wrist with its personal pulse. It's more than the beating of a single heart. It's praising, ebbing and flowing like God's own heartbeat, pacing the days. It keeps giving until the giving feels like receiving, always giving you back to yourselves. And in this, you have a life. Just imagine that. You have this day, and maybe another, and maybe another still. Eventually, tides will be the only calendar that you believe in. May it be so. Amen.
"20 years ago, yesterday, on a beautiful morning like this, even clearer, more like yesterday, a terrible day full of disbelief and devastation and heroism and miracles and overwhelming tragedy. None of us alive for it will ever forget where we were, what we heard and saw, how we felt, the long hours, the day that never seemed to end, the fear for our loved ones and the countless strangers on the plains and the cities of Washington and New York. None of us will ever forget the first responders who came and saved and risked their lives, and all those who lost their lives in driving and running to the attacks. We remember. We remember it all. Even as the last American soldiers are coming home from the war, we declared in response. Even as the last American soldiers are being lost in the last conflicts of that war, and as the last refugees from that conflict are arriving on our shores, will be arriving in our state. Countless lives struck, changed, shaped, and ended by that day and all that it has brought into the world. We have learned much, and we have much to learn, and we remember. In the light of those candles, we turn also to the High Holy Days. We have so many experiences and occasions to honor today. We can't really give the High Holy Days their due. But the most important thing to know about these most important holidays in the Jewish faith is that they are all about forgiveness. What is required for forgiveness, which is confession, an atonement, an apology, and what forgiveness offers: healing, renewal, reconciliation, hope, and love. These days, these high holy days, are a time of reckoning, a time for honesty, a time for attending to our relationships, making sure they are strong and healthy and whole, because only then can we ourselves be strong and healthy and whole. I preach on this every fall because I believe it is so essential. This year, I can only remind us of how much these days and their theme can mean for every one of us, and invite every one of us, from the very youngest one here to the oldest, to ask yourselves if you owe apology to anyone. And if so, let's be sure we make them. From the poem Days of Awe by Robin Becker, turn from evil and do good. The psalmist says, turning, round the turn, turn the key, clock the turn, turn in time, time to turn. Words into footsteps. To lead the young colt into the field. To turn from the old year, the old self. You are ready. You are ready to turn and be healed. Only face. Only begin. Turn we back now to this memorial that we have kindled. In faith, we light candles for hope, for memory, for honor, for spirit. In faith, we extinguish those candles now. For tragedy, for recognition of the desolation of suffering and loss, for the spirit that moves not only as sparks and glow and sacredness, but also in vulnerability and in endings. Amen.
as drops of rain that find each other and build to become a track, a rivulet, a stream, a river, a sea. So have we been drawn together. So have we been fortunate to find each other. So have we become bound together in loving relationship and sustaining faith on this shared passage toward an unknown ocean and eternity.
Water from the north, south, east, and west. In you are many journeys joined, many moments memorial, much that has been familiar and strange to us, especially in this time of pandemic and crisis. The journeys you represent, the many people and families that have brought you here for so many years, again this year or new this year, the tides and cycles of life and fortune and struggle and love. We receive you and commend you to the purpose of blessing our families, rich with all the care and experience and life you represent.
Young and old, of many colors and flavors, stories and longings and pain and joy, full of so much that makes us different and so much that makes us the same. We are in this time of challenge and change, of beginnings and endings, seed time and harvest all at once. We share water not only to remind us of places and time and memories, but also always of our own fluid natures, changing forms, onward journeys. These days are not easy, but we have each other, the strength of this loving, expansive community that is here for us when we need it, and the strength of this loving, expansive faith that is here for us every time we draw on it. We bless this water with our love for this planet and all of the blessings it showers upon us. Not only water, but beauty, air, food, life. We consecrate this water to the purpose of blessing our families and dedicating our children here in this faith community. We honor this water's mingling as we give thanks for our own mingling in this congregation and in our world. May we bless each other and the world as we are blessed by the gifts of life and love. May it be so. Amen.
You may know how much I love the ocean and swimming. When it's low tide, I frolic and relax in the little pools beside the minnows. When the tide comes in and is high, if you've met me, you can imagine I'm careful, but I still try to ride those tall waves. I still also walk on the beach, collect shells and other treasures, kind of like this. Some real and pretend sea glass. Sea glass is a smooth, frosted piece of glass found on beaches beside oceans and seas. It's formed from man-made glass products and polished and refined by the waves and currents of the oceans. So, sea glass is actually produced by humans, but polished by nature. I want to live like sea glass, smooth by tides but not broken. I want my hard edges to soften. I want to ride the waves and go with the flow. I want to catch a wave and let it carry me to where I belong. I want to be picked up and held gently by those who delight in my well-earned patina and appreciate the changes I went through to achieve that beauty. I want to enjoy the journey and always remember that if you give the ocean something breakable, it will turn it into something beautiful. I want to live like sea glass together.
It's been a year and a half since I said the words, "It is now time for our offering." And a lot of you gave while we were apart and inviting virtual offerings off the website, but we know from the nosedive that our offerings took that not all of you did that. So it's been a year and a half that the church has striven to be there, not only for every member and friend of this congregation, but for everyone we could reach out to in this city, across this state, all of our neighbors and friends. We made COVID testing available here. We made COVID vaccinations available here. We worked to develop a partnership with Bethel AME so that the opportunities we had to get those things because of various aspects of white privilege wouldn't mean that we were taking them while our friends and neighbors elsewhere who are not white weren't able to get things that would safeguard and save their lives. We got members of the church inexpensive tablets so that nobody was isolated at home, unable to attend worship through the internet or unable to attend a Zoom meeting. We created the Buddy program that over 200 of you participated in so that people would have ways to check in with each other and hold each other at a time that we were worried about whether everybody would be okay, and especially anybody who is homebound. Also for the homebound, we got rides. If you needed to go somewhere, we got food delivered to you. If you needed food, we got medicine delivered to you if you needed medicine. And I know it's not only because of everything that this church did throughout the year, which was literally every single thing we could think of to help. I know it's not because of that, and not just because of the efforts we had with the Rhode Island Department of Health and United Way of Rhode Island to spread those vaccinations and tests far and wide, that we have not lost a single member of this congregation to COVID. There have been people who have been sick. There has been no one lost from this congregation to COVID. I know it's not just because of everything we all did, but I know that what we did made such a difference. So I'm asking you to bear that in mind now as we ask you for your offerings. Please give all you can to the life of this church that does all it can for the life and the faith of this beloved community, which is never only those of us here, but everyone we can help, everyone we know, everyone we might touch, every life we might grace. Thank you. There are almost countless ways we can find to live out our faith with each other and with the larger world. I have 3 in particular to lift up to you today. First of all, Colt State Park. I really hope you know by now that we have a gathering immediately after church. We are all hopefully heading over to Colt State Park in Bristol for a day of an afternoon of fun. We're leaving. I'm leaving. I've got my change of clothes. I'm going to totally be there. The whole staff is going to be there. We have reserved shelter number 3. It's got shade. It's got benches and tables. There's going to be food and drink that you will hopefully have with you. We have s'mores makings that we are providing and charcoal. That's it though. If you want a burger, you're on your own. Not too late to go run and grab the ingredients and come join us. There's going to be games. There's going to be musical instruments. Please bring chairs or blankets to sit on. Tim and I have packed our car full of bats because the dizzy bat race is maybe my most favorite thing on earth. And it's a sport that deeply privileges the youngest people among us, because I think they're closer to the ground. Regardless, they always win. But we try to mix up the teams. So I hope you will participate in the Dizzy Bat Race. I hope you're joining us in Colt State Park, where people of all ages can freely enjoy themselves without masks in that beautiful and breezy setting. Second, Spiritual Pathways update. Children, youth, and parents, Kathy Sagal and the Spiritual Pathways team have been thinking of you all summer and planning innovative, fun programming to keep us connected to each other as well as our UU faith. So, Spiritual Pathways plans to regather on Sunday, September 26th here at First U for coming of age and senior high groups. Small groups for younger grades will be offered currently online based on our priorities of safety and inclusion and as recommended by our First U medical experts. Registration, including program information, policies, practices, and protocols, will be shared next week via email, and it will also be posted on the website. If you have questions or more information, please contact Kathy through the church office. And there's one more, but I'm not the one who's giving this one.
Let it be known to all those present that are here in body or throughout the ether. The first Unitarian Church of Providence will continue celebrating the 300th anniversary of our gathering together throughout this 301st year. The Committee of History will be announcing the coming gatherings to our weekly Thursday times. 6 bells and all's well.
300 years. Talk about all the tides that have come and gone in the life of this church. We have our closing words, our chalice extinguishing, and then we're doing a recessional. So the staff and I will be processing out because we don't want to create any log jams. So we'll invite everybody to exit the church by whatever door is nearest to you, and we'll hope to see you at Colt State Park.
The bay at high tide is an invitation. It calls and I follow, falling into the chill, wet blanket of motion and mystery. Put down your face and stretch out, it sighs. Relax, the element is friendly. Swim out to the raft and fill up your ears, hear the throb of the ocean massaging the land. Experience the momentary panic of salt water in your nose and mouth. Go on, it's here for you. The bay at high tide is a sparkle of fiberglass and a slapping of halyards. It's a rolling, relentless sucking at the shore and uneasy on the backs of unseen sea creatures.
But at low tide, the sand is strewn with the waves' forgotten favors. I stand abandoned like one of the empty shells, staring out beyond the horizon where the water has receded, where I cannot follow. Low tide is for reflection and acceptance. I do not belong to this water world after all. I long to wriggle into the muddy sand and shoot out tiny fountains like the clams, but I cannot. I can only stare into the pools from the salty, spray-softened surface of the beached raft and let memories bathe me.
There is a time for high tide, being involved and active, taking risks and putting out effort to master the elements. And there is a time for low tide, inactivity, reflection, and both are necessary in our lives. May worship offer low tide time to you, when you can hear the voice of calming and thoughtful inspiration, a time when thoughts come uncalled to comfort or challenge you. And may you go from here renewed and ready to answer the call of your destiny, to jump back into the high tide of life once more.
Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words. We carry the flame of peace and love, hope,